There are certain things in life that are just not possible. For instance, have you ever tried crossing a busy Indian street without fearing for your life? Or for that matter, have you ever seen people remain seated in an aircraft while the seatbelt sign is on? Similarly, you can't really expect to lose a lot of weight while you're on a steady diet of McDonald's. But Mercedes thinks that you can have your cake and eat it too, with the EQS 580. There is no getting around it. This is the S-Class equivalent of an electric vehicle. Put even more simply, take everything you like about vehicles, turn it up to 11, and that's the EQS 580 for you. The headline here is that it's locally assembled, so right there and then it's a lot more attractive in terms of price. In fact, it's 90 lakh cheaper than the AMG, and it's actually cheaper than even the locally assembled S-Class. Then there's the way it looks. Sure, it's not as extreme as the EQS 53, but understated? Hardly. The 20-inch wheels are a size smaller, but still plenty large and good looking. The bumper's redone and not as extreme, but it still lends the EQS a very dignified and distinctive look. What I find absurd though is that the EQS 580 gets an ARAI rated efficiency figure of 857 kilometers. Think about that for a second. This is a 1.5 crore rupee luxury sedan. It weighs a fair amount. It's up to the brim with gadgets and doodads and whatnot. It goes like stink. It does 0 to 100 kph in close to around 4.5 seconds. And it still returns a real world efficiency of close to about 700 kilometers. What? The 107.8 kilowatt hour battery from the EQS 53 is present here, but it makes less power, 523 horsepower and 855 Nm. That is not less power. It's less power comparatively, but it's not less. In fact, there are supercars on sale that would aspire to get to that output. I suppose that's the magic of electric vehicles. On the move, this still feels very luxurious and impressively so. You're in a constant state of disbelief while driving the EQS 580. On the one hand, you know you can get around with an eerie amount of comfort and silence. On the other, you can rest assured that it will leave anything this side of a yellow Lamborghini so far behind in its rearview mirrors that all it will be visible as will be a speck. And on yet another hand, as I mentioned earlier, it's efficient. How efficient? By a long shot, it's the longest range EV on sale in India currently. The EQS's impressive run does not end there. Here on the inside is the centerpiece, the actual attraction, which is what Mercedes likes to call the hyper screen. Now, what's made to look like one really massive screen spreading across the width of the cabin is essentially 3 separate screens. There's a 12.3-inch screen there, a 12.3-inch screen here, and in the middle is a 17.7-inch screen. Now, presumably there's no real need for actual physical buttons since this pretty much takes care of all your functions on the car. And Mercedes has rammed it with all sorts of tech. 3D maps, a head-up display, massage seats at the front, a Burmester 3D sound system, an MBUX tablet for the rear, 9 airbags, lane change assist and lane keep assist, and a whole lot more. All of this while being enveloped in amazingly comfortable seats and a beautiful interior trim. Now, I've already explained to you exactly what the EQS 580 is like in a straight line. But what's really astonishing is how it does around the bends. Now, this is not a track-ready machine by any yardstick, but at the same time, it is commendably flat around the corners, so it just goads you into pushing harder and harder and finding that limit. As for the ride, that's equally as plush as you'd expect the 580 to be. There's just one caveat. Every now and then it does scrape over quite a lot of speed breakers and bumps, and that's primarily because of the long wheelbase. But at the same time, Mercedes has tried to counteract this by giving you a lift function. Now what that does is essentially raise the car by 15 odd mm, and that does help. It does make the entire situation a lot better. Overall, I think the EQS 580 has struck such a good balance between just being comfortable and quick, and that is no mean feat. Not too long ago, people were afraid that electric vehicles would dilute the essence of a vehicle. That without internal combustion engines, vehicles would really not be the same. They'd be the equivalent of pods flying around, soullessly transporting people to point B. They'd invoke no awe, exude no charm, and deliver no joy. The EQS, it laughs in the face of those assumptions. It's good looking, efficient, powerful, arresting, and luxurious. Now, here's the thing. This is not the first impressive electric vehicle, but it is the one that brings it all together better than most. This epitomizes having your cake and eating it too. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is Forbes India Momentum. I'm Ronak, and I'm gonna go get me some cake.